Meeting calls to order each Thursday, November the 20th meeting of the Corte Madera Parks and Rec Commission. Rebecca, will you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Hoskins.
Here.
Commissioner Rose.
Here.
Commissioner Stoliar is absent. Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Commissioner Henson. Here. Vice Chair Bernardia is absent and Chair Mouse.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to start with a good time for public comment over 3 minutes. For items on our agenda, Rebecca, do we have any email comments or things coming up?
We do not have any emailed public comments and there are no raised hands.
We do have 2 presentations on our agenda. First is the introduction of Makiko, our new recreation commissioner. If you're here, I'm Makiko. My husband and our daughter, Jenna, who's 2.5, and my son, they want to please the family. We have been here for about 4.5 years and we're really picture. It's a great place to raise my family. And I've always been interested in getting into town, especially in the program. So, yeah, welcome. All right, Tim, let's do this. Pickleball's done.
Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So back in 20. Oh, get feedback.
You don't need to use that.
Perfect.
Because we pro.
Back in 2024, Park and Rec Commission approved the tennis court key system. It was a antiquated system that charged per key user. We found that basically it was just as costly to have issue the keys than it was to actually have the system in place. We used to charge $45 a year per resident, $35 for half a year, and now residents $55 and $45 for their half year. Total cost of the keys and the actual replacement locks were more than we actually brought into revenue from the actual system. Let's try him. Come on. Oh my gosh, this. Come on. There we go. Perfect. When we removed the system, we updated the tennis court rules itself. We went and looked at a couple of surrounding cities and how they set out their systems. We settled on an open play period, which was from 10 to 1 p.m. each day, at a pickleball rack for our pickleball courts, and then a reservable period from 8 to 10 each morning, and then 1 to dusk at night. Town Park has a shared pickleball court, just like Granada Park does. At the same time, we opened up new dedicated pickleball courts at Town Park. And commission directors have to find a online reservation system for residents to use to book courts. In March of 2025, we launched the new system. Granada Park has 2 tennis courts, tennis court 1 and 2, pickleball court A and B. Town Park has tennis court 1 and 2, pickleball court A and B, which are the shared ones, and pickleball court B and C, which is the dedicated courts.
So, sounds good.
You turn the Zoom down. The Zoom. Turn all that. On the other side of 10 right there, plus and minus. Is that better? Yeah. Here's a simple map of what it looks like. These are posted at all the courts. Town Park on the left and Granada Park on the right. So residents know what people know when they're reserving courts, what they're reserving. The new system of Rec to USA allowed users to reserve courts 1 week ahead of time for a split day. So if it's Wednesday, you can get a week ahead of time.
Lower the volume on what?
On speakers that the output.
Hey, I did.
Okay. They allow users to reserve the courts 1 week at a time, and then they're allowed 2 reservations per week. So basically, you can't monopolize the court, reserve 2 per week, and there are live QR code at the courts to allow persons to reserve and check current availability. I have a full presentation of looking at the actual site. Are we okay with just the summary or do you want to see the site? Okay, perfect. So this was quarter 2 when we first implemented this system. We had 3,000 reservations in the first two, from April to July. So it hit the ground running and had quickly people adopting the mobile verification, 300 accounts made, 3,000 total reservations, and a steady rise over the first year, over the first 4 months. And only a 13% cancellation, which is great. When people aren't using it, they actually cancel the court so that people use it, which is super helpful. In quarter 3, same thing, another 3,000 reservations in quarter 3, cancellation rate a little bit up, but over 430 accounts just created in that time period, and 300 total all-time scans of the courts of the different QR places for the Granada and Town Park. A little recap of kind of who's using the courts. These are the number of total reservations per residents. You kind of see they're all over the board, but as we expected, a very high number of Corte Madera and Larkspur residents, followed by Mill Valley, and Centerville and Tiburon, which is great to see. Over the Bay Area, San Francisco, a lot of people are coming to use the courts, which is great. And then a lot of just random one-offs in other surrounding areas of the Bay Area. Our 3 furthest were Salt Lake City, Boca Raton, Florida, and somewhere in Texas. All came out for something, was visiting somebody and reserved the courts, which was great. And they used it through the rec system. There's a breakdown of kind of what usage at Granada Park. Keep in mind the 2 tennis courts, court 1 and 2 are tennis courts, and pickleball court A and B overlap court 1. And for example, when court 1 is used, obviously court A and B can't be used. And when court A and B are used for pickleball, tennis court 1 can't be used. So that's the range from March 8th through November 18th, just kind of a range of what reservation was. And even part of this time, just so we know that part of the pickleball courts were down, or part of the tennis courts were down because somebody broke the post. We then fixed them, but still quite a bit of usage overall at Granada Park. Town Park, it's a lot of usage. It's busy. I mean, there's some really big numbers there. In the pickleball courts alone, which is dedicated court C and D, D is the one with the pickleball wall with it. 1,289 total reservations for court D and 1,514 reservations for court C. And keep in mind, this does not include open play time. This is just reservable time that people booked. It does not include any of our time for our classes that are on the court, either tennis or pickleball. And then obviously court 1 and court 2, tennis alone get quite a bit of use, but you can really see the impact of 2 dedicated pickleball courts used on a regular basis for not even a full year time, which is great to see that the courts being used. Any questions for me on how pickleball and tennis reservation system works? There is no lock. We removed the locks when we went to this new system. So you just go in. So you can scan the QR code, you go in to see if someone has it booked. And there are rules in place to say if someone doesn't show up by a certain amount of time in the reservation period, it's a first come, first serve. What I haven't had any fights, I haven't had people complaining. I think everybody kind of knows how the system works and really uses it quite well. The Tiburon, the ranch is going to go to the system probably next year. And Larkspur may be behind too. They've also called and said, how does it work? Do you like it? And people have all been very happy with the way it's worked and the use of ease of use.
Earlier, you mentioned at the very beginning where you were losing money on
Yep.
what does that look like now?
We're making it back in just the regular rental of the courts and class of the course, so it's a break even at this point. And it was a big push from council to say, why are we even renting? Why are we closing these courts? I think it was that you wanted to have residents have the first opportunity, and this was kind of a check and say, if residents aren't getting a shot, then we need to figure out a priority system. But everyone's having a chance to use the courts. I mean, I think with 2 pickleball courts, they tend to share. I think a lot of times people book together and make it all work. So it's not a huge loss for the system.
Yeah.
It is super helpful because before this, we didn't know, we only knew the number of keys we sold. We never knew how many people actually were using them or not using them, but it's good to have some hard data when we make some decisions about future facilities.
Notice that with reservation systems, they are a lot more active. I mean, these numbers are great. So is this over an 8-month period of all these numbers?
Yeah.
That's the pickleball numbers are bigger. They stand out. I did have one comment. I know a lot of people do use this, and there was one small thing. I don't know if there's a way to tweak it. So the confirmation For instance, if you book court 2 at 8 o'clock, you get that confirmation, but the confirmation itself doesn't tell you which court that you had. So 2 people show up and you don't remember which court it has. I can give a screenshot of it. You can help.
Super helpful. Yeah, we have quarterly meetings with USA to do any updates, and they can actually fix that, absolutely. Just send me a screenshot.
But yeah, I got a lot of great feedback. I solicited a lot of information, solicited a lot of information from both people, and they didn't have any suggestions to improve it. They said it works great, they're very, very easy.
And I think accomplishing one of our goals where you want to know you could go down and play. You knew there's a spot, you could reserve you to show up and not sure if you're going to put a play, or you could plan your day around it, around your soccer schedule, whatever else. To get to play pickleball or tennis, so you knew you were going there and have a court to play on.
I'm sure that it's supposed to have a system.
So one of the things I was excited about with the data as we go on this planning was, does it tell us whether we have enough tennis and pickleball courts available, or for the people who need them? There are a lot of debates about strategy tennis courts, people who play volleyball. And so there's some interesting things as we look at this, like, it looks like we have more tennis players in ground and more pickleball players in town park. That's kind of operating it. It looks like if I'm gonna play tennis, they're gonna allow more tennis courts that are striped. Right, so my tennis devotees are going to fail. That's what it looks like. What I can't quite tell, and I don't know too if you see this, whether we have enough pickleball courts, like we have 1,500 reservations, so they're open spots. We constantly look. I think a little bit like the town is so very mobile. And I don't think like we are on that topic of the overall to.
I think Town Park's busy because it's a dedicated court. To me, it's the newest pickleball courts in and it's just pickleball. I think that's why it is so busy. I think there's some different challenges with Granada with no bathroom and just a porta potty and slow parking, and it is on a shared use area of the district. So if we decide to go that way, it's a little more challenging. I mean, there's always still open spots. People are still playing. That's what the open play time was for. And we have any people like are going, hey, your time's up, you played your 2 points, whatever else. But the calendar has definitely open spots. But you definitely see a pattern of the same people at the same time. We're always out there playing, and the same groups, which is what you want. And I think only having, 4 in a vicinity kind of cuts down on the large party atmosphere, the large noise that a park like Piper's handling right now. Where it's a big party scene, where it's like more local pickle players who come to play. They may meet here 1 week or meet Tiburon the next week or wherever the next week, which is good. And we haven't had a single neighborhood complaint when this went in with the skate park. I know we had a lot of talk about it, but we haven't had any complaints from the noise, which has been great.
I'd be curious, does we know if Larkspur has a reservations to the pickleball course?
They do not know. I know their commission is battling or having discussion about changing some of their rules, but as of now, they do not.
I think it would be amazing. They wanted to get on our reservations. That would be great. So I'm not saying you need to, like, say you need more pickle or more tennis immediately. How I agree with that.
I think like me, I think it's, I don't think a new addition is, I think maybe some improvement to the current tennis courts might be something we look at this year. I've seen a couple things where the master plan will come up of some fence needs to be replaced and resurfacing, they need to be redone, but I think right now we're holding good with the number of courts we have for the people who are using them.
I would suggest, I know this is not changed to the reservation system, but when the last storm came by, it was quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, the netting's ripped, we've already ordered it, we're gonna put it up, it should be in about 2 weeks, but yeah, the windscreen just got ripped, and that wind was just,
The net on or one and then the back.
that's windscreen, yeah.
So there may invest in a little bit of TLC, not necessarily before. The other thing that we removed when we installed pickle was what was the wall for tennis. We had any feedback that we're missing that?
The only problem you had is people are wearing inappropriate shoes on the wall ball. We've had some damage with people using cleats to rip it up, so there's signage up, but people are not obeying the signage and they're using cleats to kick and they've done some damage. So we're gonna have to do some repairs probably in the new year when the weather gets nicer. But yeah, they don't follow the no cleat sign or that, so they just show up and tear up a part of it. So there's a couple areas where it is starting to rip, they're gonna have to come out and repair it in the new year. Otherwise, no.
But they're saying.
No. I see people play on it if they're practicing, whatever else, yeah.
age from when things out of the ball?
No, tennis, just
Tennis.
pickleballs.
As
So
well.
it is used once.
Okay. Well, people were using it for soccer and cross.
Lacrosse, that's, yeah,
Before, so just.
I have not seen that. The funny thing is you actually see people, and it's kind of weird, the tennis pickle players steal each other's equipment. So we have brooms and squeegees out there. They'll steal it and hide it. So it's for one, not the other. So we constantly are buying new stuff to give everybody 2 squeegees and 2 brooms so that they can put the courts ready. They just tend to get very possessive of it and hide it. Feel like it's weird, but like as long as everybody gets the courts clean, I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, any other questions or comments for Tim before we move on to consent calendar? All right, thank you for that analysis. This was again, data for us to think about master plan. And we have our information. All right, the consent calendar. These are items that are routine or have been previously discussed. We have further discussion. Any member of the public will comment. Or one that is consent calendar for the discussion, we'll start by asking if anyone from the commission would like to put anything from the consent calendar discussion. Do we have any public comments?
We do not have any public comments. I just figured out which knob controls that. Now I have to figure out how to get everything back at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
And bring it back to the commission for a possible motion. Would anyone like to move to approve the minutes from the October 27th regular commission meeting? Would you like to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve the what?
The minutes from the October.
The meeting, minutes from the October meeting.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Excellent. Rebecca, can we get a vote?
I don't need to use the mic.
I did the same thing, it's on and I was.
Commissioner Hoskins. Commissioner Rose.
Yes.
Commissioner Stolier is absent. Commissioner Zemek.
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yes.
Commissioner Condrey is absent. Chair Miles.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Discuss and review conceptual designs of the renovation of school age children playground in town park.
All right, let me share my screen again. Hopefully technology is still on my side. I think it is. Share. Come on. So tiny. Let's try. Perfect. So a little background on Town Park Playground. It was last updated in the early 2000s. It was actually updated in 2 sections. It had a old wood section and a metal section that was kind of merged together and basically was in disrepair. The goal of this was to replace the existing school age section of the playground. And it was closed because of some hazards that was reported, and it's been closed ever since with some wood paneling and some caution tape. Kind of a little history. We started back in December 2024. First, this is a master plan project.
That was weird.
Yeah, we don't need the in-room volume. It's meant for being like a video conferencing tool.
So basically it was part of the master plan, it was identified for the 2025 work plan. In February, included projects for both the East Fields, the Town Park Playground and the Menke Park. The initial allocation was $150,000 towards this project for the renovation. An update in April, I had done a lot of playground renovations. So I reached out to a couple of my cohorts who have done them recently, Katie Gauntlet in the city of Novato, and Ashley Wilson, city manager, recreation manager, city of Catadia, both just done 2 separate playgrounds of what they've done and what it worked and what their challenges.
That's like us.
In my discussions, I realized that $100,000 is not enough to cover the cost of the playground. They had kind of pointed me towards a possible grant with California Park and Rec Society with the Healthy Play Initiative, which I attended in May to kind of learn about the grant and see if it's possible, to see how it would work. And if it's something we could apply here in Corte Madera. I met on June with a consultant named Leo Sabi, who is the design consultant for Game Time MR Recreation, and figured out, is this something we could use in Corte Madera? How does this work? Could it be possible? After deciding with him, he's like, yes, we could do it. We decided to do a partnership with CPRS and Game Time and Playcore, which are 3 companies. When this new playground will be installed, it will be a national demonstration site, which means it will include all 6 essential elements of physical activity as part of a playground. So when they're building new playgrounds, they're making sure there's active, all 6 of these elements. So basically any kid or any child can use it to stay active in the community. In July, we launched an online survey, posted at the playground, posted at the community center, and included in the weekly newsletter. At the same time, I applied for the grant. We got awarded the grant in August. The benefits of the grants are, and we'll talk about later, it's a discount on the playground equipment itself. The other big advantage is that Healthy Play Initiative grant allows organizations to use, which is an omni partnership, which means you don't have to go to bid for it. Basically, it's part of the omni cooperative bidding process. So basically, they do turnkey projects, including everything from resilient service to playground. Basically, it's one giant project that it's basically not have to go out to bid certain aspects, which is a big benefit of partnering with Omni and partnering with the Healthy Initiative grant. There's a survey we sent out with 142 responses. QR code was posted at Town Park. We will go over this results in a second, but we will see a majority of the Town Park users come from Corte Madera, Larkspur. And important features people want are climbing, balance, agility, slide, swings, and motion play. And resilient servicing for easier access to the playground. First question, are you a Corte resident? Obviously, 192% said yes. How often do you attend the Town Park? Weekly, which is, we know, is a very busy park in town and both in Marin by residents and people outside the area. What ages use it? It's really an older kid structure. You can see 3 to 5 year olds are the majority of people who use them. I think the little kids like to have a big structure. It's fancier, and that's why they use it quite a bit. And these are some priorities we asked people what they wanted to see. Pretty standard in playgrounds: swing, slides, kind of climbers, balanceability, and motion play, and sensory music play. We're all pretty standard when you ask people like, what part of playground do you like to see most? And that's usually where it comes out with those. We asked colors. I am not a color guy. I'm fully admit I'm colorblind in green, brown. So I had to ask the question because I didn't know. And you can see it's some nature-based colors is what they preferred. And then preferred surfacing, wood chips over rubber surfacing. Clearly people would enjoy the rubber surfacing over the wood chips. They took the results from that survey and basically designed 2 playgrounds. So basically it was, okay, take all this data, figure out how do you combine 2 playgrounds that Game Time could provide and figure out what's the best thing. So you're going to be looking at 2 different surveys. One, when we launched the survey, it was open for about 2.5 weeks. We had 205 online responses, which is great. We posted it in the town newsletter. We posted on the splash page of the website. We posted at the park, got some really, really good responses, which is great. Then we went to the kids, we went over to childcare and our program and said, okay, here's 2 options. What do you like? And it was great. They like, oh, we like this or like this. They really got into it. I'll show you some photos later. They really got active, which was great to see the engagement in the process. But we have tonight is 2 options, an option A and an option B. I'll go through each option and there is a sub option, each one depending on resilient surfacing. So this is option A, an overhead view. You can see there's some climbing structures, some slides, and I guess a spider web, I guess is the best way to talk about it. And the side view of how the playground looks, a slide, some climbing, another option with some slide. And that is the CAD drawing, how it would be orientated in the park. So you can kind of see that it would be when you walk up to it, you would see a kind of a spider web on the left and the slide on the right. You can kind of see there's a little faint line on the top half of the playground, and there's the 2 other structures, which is the rock wall and the turtle, right? I'm drawing like turtle. So we'll talk about the options. That is what the CAD drawing looks like from option A. Option B is a little different design. It's the overhead shot, a much bigger main slide where kids will climb up to and slide down. Again, the picture of the slides and climbing on the other side. More climbing on that side. Those are some swing. I get myself dizzy and throw up, but that's what it is. You hop on and swing around. Not for me. It's a climbing wall and some steps on the other side. And then the CAD drawing on the top, again, how it orients to the park with the line where the rock wall and the turtle currently is. In the design, it came out that option B was favorable by the people who responded. 205 people responded, and option B was the preferred design. Here are the cute pictures of the kids basically playing on and choosing everything. Option A, they like the monkey bars, was more colorful. Bigger bounce went like the rope feature. Option 2, like the big slide, height obstruction, lots of stuff to do. And the flash side is basically a cost. So basically, you have two options in each one, option A1 and A2. The difference is the amount of pour in place surface that is in each playground. Option A1 and B1 are literally just the playground itself. So it's enough, obviously, the safety feature, the fall feature of the playground. Option A2 and B2 include the entire area, including the rock wall and including the turtle. So that entire area would become pour in place surface. There's the prices right there. Those all include the grant funding. So if option A1 or A2 choose, it's a $58,000 saving on the playground equipment. If option 2 is chosen, it would be $82,000 savings over the equipment. So basically, the more expensive equipment, the bigger discount we get on the actual equipment. Tonight I'd like some feedback and discussion. The plan would be to kind of take everything that's in here, and then they'd like to do construction in early January. It would go to town council for final approval and contract in the December meeting, and then basically construction in January, February, and open into February, depending on what design you choose. Originally, there was $150,000 budgeted for this project. In talking with the finance director, there is $330,000 total.
Say that again. Sorry.
It's not. There is $330,000 total in the rec capital budget. All of that money can be allocated towards this project, including the $150,000 additional from the town project fund. I would have to go to council and say, we have this project, we'd like to adjust the money and move it to there. My discussion with Chris Petlock, the finance director, said, depending on how you guys direct today is how we would proceed with council. But there is funding to cover that project altogether. These are shovel-ready projects. Literally, this company will do everything. Public Works will just work on the contracts and basic general supervision, but they will take out all the old equipment. They will reuse all the wood chips in our other parks and build the equipment, everything else on site and install everything. So this will literally be completely done by an outside contractor going forward. That is the end of my slide deck, and I'm sure we'll have questions. So
B is the one that everybody likes better.
option B is the one everyone liked better. At least the survey that came out was option B was favorable. And we just asked them if they wanted resilient surface, and they did say yes at some point, but didn't say if the whole area or just the one or the other. So
I thought there was a little rubberized surface underneath.
there is a rubberized surface right now to get into the actual structure, and that's it. That's the only thing that's there right now, because technically wood chips is accessible, but it's not the same as a rubberized surface. No, that is just wood chips. That is all wood chips.
I feel like I need more information on this topic of the rubberized surface, because the way that question seems phrased in I think you just asked, what do you prefer, right? But it doesn't necessarily make clear that we're talking about the whole area, which doesn't seem very intuitive to me, just looking at other parks that I don't know which other parks have a whole area that is rubberized surface versus wood chips. Maybe it's a problem. So I question how reliable that singular pole is, but I also want to know, like, my main concern would be if a child falls, is there any data on like what is safer, wood chips or a rubberized surface? I don't know. I would assume wood chips, but I have no basis. I mean,
Well, the rubberized sorry, should we answer questions or should we? Okay. The rubberized surface is a approved surface. Yes, it's a rubberized bounce, so you're gonna have the same impact as the wood chips. Now, I think you're gonna scrape yourself on the wood chips. You're not gonna scrape yourself on the rubberized surface. I think that's why they put it in all the playgrounds, so it's easier to roll into, it's easier to access, and it's safe for what it is. I think a lot of playgrounds are looking at getting rid of the wood chips or bark because you get splinters, it gets dirty,
You have to refresh it annually.
you have to replenish and they put new wood chips in because they do break down, they do get spilled out, where this would be just a service that's good for the 10 years.
that is actually my next question, is maintenance costs, because I know that rubberized surfaces do actually have to be maintained. We just replaced it in the other section of the park, put it fresh underneath some of the areas where it exists.
We put, those were tiles that were under the park, so they replaced the tiles because when they did the original playground inspection, those tiles were basically also out of compliance. Those were tiles that were just set under certain areas. I believe it was the swings and
Yeah. like along the side.
I think along the side, yes, and they changed the entrance to this area with a pour and play that it was tiles before, but the tiles were basically falling apart. So that's when they replaced the tiles and added the pour and play in to get to the one level of the current structure to get to everything else.
So is there an evaluation of like total cost of ownership for rubberized surface versus the wood chips?
I have not, no, there is not a total cost
Is
analysis.
there any sort of estimate, like what do the wood chips cost to be refreshed?
It's per ton and it's done every year. I don't know the figure off the top of my head. I don't.
If we don't have the motion, then we still have to. Well, then I would write them.
There's still a general inspection and cleaning of the park they do every year, so that's done annually no matter what. That's how this first came to light last year when it was closed. They needed playground safety instructor, and they were like, these are things you have to get fixed. One was the tiles, one was an area where someone could get their arm or head stuck. So those all things got changed right away. So that's done every year, basically general maintenance. Either it's cleaning up sand, or it's doing a cleaning or adding chips, and then doing a general inspection by either our staff or a third party company comes in. This last time a third party company came in, because this person who did the playground inspection was not with the town. They brought somebody else in.
It's like $129,000 to do pour and play in dirt on the extra space. What is your preference? Because some of it you now have wood chips up against pour and play. Are we worried about?
There will be a barrier in between, so there will be definitely a barrier in between. Beach so those pour and play, or the wood chips don't spill over in the pour and play. We will reuse the wood chips if we did not using them at other parks or other parts of that park. They're still being used, or we use wood chips all over the town for other activities in other places. I think when I look at new playground design, the pour and play makes sense for accessibility for everybody. Yes, there is some maintenance and there's still some possibility of it being replaced, but they can't come out and patch fix it if it gets ripped or something else. And there's a warranty for a certain amount of time. Usually it's 2 years, depending pour and play. If something gets ripped or broken or something else, or the manufacturer defect, they'll come out and fix it.
We get the money from 150. We would check out, we have a budget of 480, which clearly would allow for any of these options.
Correct.
For what
I
it's
would
worth,
still-
I have heard feedback in the past that our playgrounds make it difficult for children that use wheelchairs and other mobility devices to actively engage and play with their classmates or other kids on the playground, because it's difficult to navigate the wood chips.
And you look at the playground at, Cummins, it's pour and play, right? There's no wood chips. They took all those out years ago. I believe Sunkawa has some pour and play and some non-pour and play for that exact reason. But if you look at the whole park there are other areas that are not pour and play. It's obviously the wood chips or grass or sand or whatever else in that large playground.
So it sounds like your preference for a maintenance not going would be to include the pour and play.
I would include some pour and play at some point. Yes, if it's just the actual structure itself and the safety around it, that's one option, or the entire thing. But I think it opens up that playground for more use for more people. Even if you have to roll a stroller on or whatever else, it makes it a little easier than trying to roll up a wood chip. It's not easy, and it's a bit of a challenge.
Wood chip area where the plywood wall is, it's not utilized for other reasons except for that climate.
Yeah.
That's all formed, but that's nice big open space that kids can push strollers and all spread things out a little bit more. We kind of more in favor of spending. Actually, that's just kind of I know we're still just questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we can just a little bit. I really like the idea. Neil Cummins is a great example. They shifted over towards it. There's still accidents. Kids are going to get hurt. If they're falling off a 1 foot drop off, they're going to get hurt. I don't know if there's any data on which is going to be safer and which is not. I think it's a usability decision. That's why I can do most of that.
To be fair though, I feel like if a kid did fall off looking at the design, the highest point they could probably fall off would probably be about 6 feet. They'd have to be hanging off the side of this thing, or somehow they have to climb up all the way on there. It'd be relatively okay. They
The
get,
results to consider, it's climbing all the way to the top of the climb,
oh, yeah, true.
and so none of this is including refurbishing that structure.
No.
Right?
Correct. This is just that playground itself and then not touching the turtle or
How's,
Is there an option? Where we just put around the structure? And not like the climbing wall.
so option B1 is just putting pour and play around the eligible structure. B2 is pour and play against the entire thing. So really it's more of, okay, which of the two structures do you like better? And then two, do we want to do, full pour and play or just around the actual playground structure itself and keep the wood chips in the area where the climbing wall is and everything else? And it doesn't mean we can't go back, sorry, you can't go back later and add pour and play in that area. You're gonna, caution it off and make it, not caution, you're gonna cordon it off and make it a separate section. So you could go back later and take all the rest of the wood chips out, put pour and play back in at a later date. You're not taking away, but just when you talk about the base rock and everything else to put in, it gets expensive. It is definitely a surface that people desire, but it's an expensive surface.
I think there's also, and at least for me, essentially to me, the overall, just the aesthetic and feel versus practicality. As much as I loathe wood chips in my sandals, and like wood chips in my kids' shoes, I prefer natural materials personally over synthetic materials. So that's in my mind, where when people respond to the question, they like the natural colors. That I think that kind of lines up with that, but maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't there. I don't know. Is there, how static are these designs? Is there an option for mix and match?
I think once you start changing a design and element, you're changing the entire structure. So these are basically the complete design they have currently with this brand. So when you start changing things, it'll change the way that if you change a slide or something else, it'll change the footprint, it'll change the way you have to look at fall zone. So you open up a whole can of worms to change a bunch of stuff. If you're looking at change, there are certain elements you really don't like. I'd have to go back and work with the playground designer to figure out how to make those changes or things you'd really love to have. But these are like the two designs. There was a third, there was a third design that we first got that was not great.
Oh.
So it was not a great design. And we said, hey, take this data from the survey and figure out how to incorporate in these two designs. That's what the two games were.
That's what I'm thinking about, like looking at the responses you got from kids, right? And the things that they like, and I wonder, thinking about, like, if you just took this finding and plot that in option B, like added that to option B without sacrificing much else, then I think it would up level it quite a bit. And that's something that was mentioned. That's my personal preference, but also going back to what my kids said.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, personally, I think my first reaction to this is I don't think either of these designs are super inspiring. Because I don't know how it's different or better, and I consider us, as I said before, and say again, it's probably been done. I think we're competing with other towns. And if you ask me what is the best park in Marin, it's San Selma, hands down. I would love to take an opportunity to like really, if we're going to improve something, up level to the point of, and I know there are budgetary considerations, obviously, and there are constraints that we have to deal with. But I would love the opportunity to make sure that we're different and better in whatever we're pursuing. So, yeah, if there is room for, and anecdotally, I've heard feedback from that there are different elements of each of these that if they were kind of together, and that the web being on option B was something that I heard. That would maybe up level it a little bit, but that's just again my initial.
And there's nothing to say you can't. I mean, if this is, let's say a phase 1 or phase 2. Let's say this is phase 1, and we realize, hey, a web would be more than the rock wall. Maybe in that next spreadsheet, you take the rock wall and put a giant web there, and you put them.
I think the rock wall fits.
Right.
I think a lot of kids plan.
Yeah.
I like the idea of this park, but this park has been closed for how long?
Almost 6 months. Yeah.
And so delaying this decision delays that.
I don't want to delay the decision.
Yeah.
I am,
Not, it's anything that's like, what we can't get from, I think there was like an interesting, what to. Let me ask you a question. Can we, is it either one can come in either color, or does option A come in only those colors? I think there was some using based on color rather than.
I would say probably the slide and that kind of stuff can change. I'm sure probably everything can change color. If we say we want this design, we want to change it to a color, I'd have to look at the catalog to see what they have. But like I said, if you're strong in this, say you want option A and option A too, but you really want to change the color, I go back to design and say, hey, they love the design, but can you change the color before it goes to council for final approval for contract?
Yeah, I think that's just like a general question that I don't know how people chose. People were pretty consistent on the nature based, and then I'm looking for the second, because that was first survey. The second survey, was it really obvious people like B better than A, or was it close?
It was pretty obvious. It was, sorry, I can't see.
A lot of what I heard is that they were choosing based on color.
Okay.
yeah, and probably, but
But it's funny because it's the moms that are choosing young people. Well, the kid, and then split, they were also more B votes than A votes, because they liked the big slide and the height. But yeah, I got excited about the road and one first. Neither of which I'm going to use, to be clear, so I don't really take my vote.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm supportive of like, if there's a way for you to have love.
So as an example, so my trade is they love location of it, going to my car, and you ask them, well, what? It's there's like sentence, and the stand of the kids. And again, you've got 5 months, we're not using for us sitting up here saying we should be when honestly going crazy on value is not talking to our kids and friends and everything like that. I think I'm pretty confident in saying having a big, nice centerpiece, whether it's a web or something along those lines, is going to not get us that part, but it's going to make it more fun. But it's different. It's going to get different. And that's what, yeah.
But if you look at the prices of the two, the big thing on option B is the big slide. Now, you have a slide, you have the big slide on the other side, it's not as big as this one. But option A is a bit cheaper than option B. Option A, and now probably, so I got deal with our going survey to do that, but. Assumptions.
When I walk through these two playgrounds, two things pop, right? The big tall slide pops on one and the spider web pops on the other. That's what you see when you walk, especially depending on how it's.
Put your hands together.
Right.
We have a big slide at the top of the neck.
Because if you look at option B here, because if you think about it, here's option B. When you enter the playground, you're going to come up to that big giant slide. That's the thing you're going to see first, right? If you look at option A, sorry, this is really slow. You look at option A, the spider thing is on the other side, so it's different. So you'll see it more from the street than you will see the other part of the playground. Because you got to remember, this is still to the right of you is still slides and grass in the tiny top playground area. That's just a part of it. So you see kind of different things. Like from the street corner, you might see the web that pops to you right away, but when you walk into the actual playground area, you're going to see that giant slide, and that's what you'll see first.
Yeah, you got to wait. Well, what's that?
No comment.
Can get a quote.
If you have any public comment.
Oh,
Sorry, we're just checking if we have any online or public comment. Sorry.
We do not, other than Lorena who says there's an echo. Because nothing can go well tonight.
Yeah, no, we have video now, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al.
But if you wanted to open public comment, we did not receive any emailed public comment on this item. And we don't have any raised hands for public comment.
What I will say is, when I was younger, I would go to a park and I'd be like, oh, a slide, that's cool, I'm expecting to see that. But the excitement I get when I see one of those web things, I was ecstatic. I went to code, they had one. The kindergarten were allowed to do it, and the entirety of my kindergarten year, I'm waiting to get on that thing, and then we all first through fifth every day. I'm on that thing, and we learned to like walk on top of it because it was flat. That was not safe. I think, but to an extent, when you go to a park, depending on how long you're gonna be there, you want to be entertained as much as you want to in your little childish heart desires. A web can only keep you entertained for so long. Option B seems to have, you got the plastic rock looking thing, you got 2 slides, you have like numerous things to climb on. I think you could have I think the option would keep me a lot more entertained as a child. And it's still draw me in, but.
I think
the playground, so my kids are older too, they're 16 and 13, but when you took the playground, it's like, where can I play hide and seek, where can I play tag?
Right, those are
Things
things
that,
and
I think both of those is like, yeah, you can
run to the top of the big
slide down, or you can run to the top of the web and try to get tagged. So I think both have,
options.
I will continue, want to continue to challenge the notion that it's just one or the other. You can't do it. I mean, if you look at the top down view, I question there's no good way of showing this. I question the value of whatever these poles are.
Spinning poles.
so they're spinning. So in this grant, you have to have a certain amount of those core.
Oh,
So that is
the element that fits that part. So that's the six criteria to be part of the grant. So that is one of the criteria of the spinning.
They're really popular at the Sausalito Park. I used to take my son to.
I love those things, but I don't know, my mom was really scared of them. It's great.
And I think-
Spin each other, and especially the little kids. that
It works your core.
really don't get seasick, they're great.
there's also a room over here where there's things that are eliminated.
We already, it can be placed with another planning component.
It would be a different discussion of cost. So
Something that's done next fiscal year or next year's plan.
Right now, it's just
the town park structure. It wasn't the.
For the rock.
Yeah, not the rock.
Are you in Airbnb?
Sorry.
You're in Airbnb?
This gray
Like the
rock
living pads.
at the end of the monkey bars.
The rock.
Got it.
They had it, they have.
I think that's probably your climbing feature in this playground, right? The other one has the climbing of the spider web, that has the climbing of the rock.
We already have a rock on the wall. Right, adjacent.
Right, but what I'm saying is we replace this part of the grant requirement as a climbing element. So that's the climbing element in this part of the structure, where the climbing.
I know what I'm saying, is we already have the climbing wall next to it. That's a little bit redundant. If you replace that climbing with the web, it would make the whole thing more interesting.
So can I make a proposal about having? So I think that the feedback from the survey, you can say, like, if nothing else, natural option B, that's the winner. If you can get a price that includes the web as an option B plus, and see if this is in our budget, that I think is where we're going. Like, I think we should ask the design goes, how would you put a web in here? Can that fit somewhere without losing grant, losing the possibilities? Because they should be the experts.
And make sure they are aware that other elements are included when they were.
They are, but to apply to award the grant, you have to literally have all the elements in the structure you're replacing.
So it would have extra plan. So we'd have to make sure that that doesn't script the grant and we can still afford it.
So you'd want to remove the small little rock that's in B and add a web or something.
It's like, that would be out of that. I think it's more about adding thing way. I think what you're hearing from the group is like, hey, if I had to get rid of something, make the web work. I'd get rid of the rock, but it's more of a question of how do we get the wet in the design?
Okay.
And maybe there's a way to balance that with less surface pouring or something else to save money on that end.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can fit it all in. Have to talk to
Like I said,
the finance team and
480 for in my.
All right, so somehow adding a web to option B, right?
without detracting and without subtracting anything.
Well, I mean,
And then seeing what we,
I guess
How would they, I think the question.
how would they do it? And would that subside, would that fulfill all the requirements of the grant? I'm looking at, trying to see if there's anything else that's attached to it that would be a problem.
audio, computer, maybe.
I don't think so, no, mine. No, my audio.
Took care of the problem.
And is off, Mike is learning getting feedback?
Yeah.
No, I'm off.
I muted your computer, Tim.
She
Sorry.
fixed it on her end. But she said even the closed captioning is double sharing.
The problem is fixed now. It was Tim's computer.
Okay, so add web options to option B. And if that is not a possibility, do we like option A, but with different colors, is my question.
I think it'd be,
I think it'd still be.
You can still be,
so that's what it. I think there's.
I think the kids in the community have spoken.
Okay.
B was the preferred.
so would be willing to give up other elements to get a web in as long as you still meet the criteria of the grant.
Yeah, I think that's a big slide.
Not
Okay.
the yeah. But that wouldn't, that wouldn't.
But we'd be willing to go to rock and roll. So the spinning.
I don't think the spinning could go because that's a requirement. It's only spinning things on there.
But they be in another area of
Right.
the,
There's a lot of space in between the turtle and the.
And then that
Feels
thing,
disappointing.
that thing that the kid in blue right there is claiming to back down. I mean, this is where like if that attached to a web, I don't know.
I love that butterfly.
I mean, you're very needy. But it,
Yes, priorities for you, yes, I think.
yes, yeah, I don't know if this.
the butterfly does tie into Miss Swisher's garden.
It's on top. There you go, and it's like.
Yeah, and then obviously, since we have no wood chips, the child, well, like, that's the thing.
So I guess what I'm hearing is if we can add a web to option B,
Yeah,
okay? Do we want to consider, is it more of a direction to pour and play the entire area or just the new playground area itself? So the separation between the wood chips of the climbing wall and the turtle and the new playground?
I think budget allows, we should do it.
Okay.
But I think if the budget is between the web and the core, we pick the web.
How does that work logistically? Like you have to lift up the turtle in the rock wall to?
No,
pour?
you would basically dig all the wood chips out,
Oh, is it-
put rock in and then pour on top. Correct, yes. They wouldn't be.
That give you enough direction to do what you need to do in the time allotted.
I will reconnect with the designer tomorrow, and see what I get back. Again, I'd like to take this to council on December 16th so that basically can approve and move forward, obviously, with them to the final design, a contract, and moving money from town capital to the rec capital. There's enough money to cover the cost.
Well, look, somebody might have entered this already, what if we have like expectancy of people or play?
It honestly depends on use. I've seen them last 10 years, 15 years. It depends. There's no sand in this, so the sand usually gets in it and grates it down. There's no water near this. Honestly, it's like you can. So here's the thing: are kids riding e-bikes across it? Are they riding scooters across it? Are they, that kind of stuff that wears it down for just being used? It should last you 10 years. But it is, I mean, I've said this before, we are the number 2 park in Marin County besides Piper that people use town park currently. And this park gets used a ton, and this new playground, just like the pickleball courts and the skate park, will attract people to come and play. So that's what we want. But it will definitely get used.
We don't put scooters on it, we should put a sign on the safety with scooters on.
And one of the things that kids don't respect signs.
No, that's in the front.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I think it's the blacktop's different. You ride through the blacktop, you ride through the pour and play. That's how they do it. And that's how it is. And they do a bunch of donuts and stuff. I think this is a little more separated in that, there will be a separation between the pour and play and the wood chips. I'll have to work with the designer how to transition from one to the other, 'cause you have to get from one structure to the other. So that'll be a interesting challenge to work out, but I can work out.
So I'm having trouble imagining what the $129,000 gets us. So we're saying that there would be the form play underneath the main structure,
So,
but does that extend?
so see the line
Yeah,
on the top of the playground there?
yeah.
So that is where the line would be for the pour and play if we just did the playground itself.
And then $129,000 gets us that extra little bit.
Correct.
So it seems like it's a lot of money for that little bit.
Because you're looking at base rock, drainage, and the surface. Surface is the most expensive. Pour and play surface is the most expensive.
Yeah, so it's basically, again, just a recap, $129,000 just to get under the rock wall and turtle.
Correct. For pour and play surface, correct.
That seems.
Been a lot of money.
It is the most expensive part of any playground. You put that surface in by far.
But it would already be underneath the main.
Correct. That is the option A1 and B1, correct.
Having it form play across everything means that it feels like more of a continuous experience as a
Sure.
kid playing.
They're already separate though.
Yeah.
They already feel separate even with the wood chips in that.
Yeah, it is one bigger, but we'd have to put a separation, correct?
So I think we prioritize the web and the playground, and if we run out of money, we don't do the.
Yeah.
But like I said, you could, in years future, pour and play there if you want to replace the rock wall or get rid of the turtle and add a different climbing area there too.
Else brief, no, my very limited research and legitimately just Google is that it'd be approximately $10,000 for a net climber thingy, not including installation or
Okay.
something like that.
Well,
On average.
let's see, well, I think the design is the big question.
Yeah.
Let's see if the-
Well, that's also individual, this is just like.
You keep in mind our discount is on playground and structures, not on the pour and play. So we're playing market rate for the pour and play, but you're paying the design.
Less.
Yeah, I think it's definitely less prioritized from a budget perspective, structure, the web. The form play underneath the core service,
But we're okay with the color of the way color B works right now?
yes.
That's not
Okay.
option B.
Yeah, a natural
Yeah.
color, those are the natural. Yeah.
Sure.
There's no.
I said,
It also matches the other side of the park on the newer kind of structure, which is nice.
Would the form play match the surface in any way on the other side? Because I know
It's gonna be neon orange.
not the structures, but the.
Oh, that is.
The wood chip?
It's a very good question.
They would pick a matching color to match with them.
Okay, all right.
So a natural color like that,
Yes.
yeah. Maybe. Yeah. The $100,000 feels like I'm also like, feels like a lot of money.
Just without the question.
You know, into a place where like maybe at some point we wanna actually do something more exciting on that part of the area, overall as like a. Base tier.
It's like it can, we could be kicked down the road, we can have no, not additional expense. You get economies of scale by doing it all together in one fell swoop as a continuity, but.
Right.
But if we did anything else there, like if we actually totally revamped and did something else there, you'd still get the same. I mean, on scale.
Yes.
Just to put it in perspective.
Yes, it is.
That's,
I mean, our pickleball courts had some concrete that we could work with, but it feels like a lot of money for like. That kind of thing.
Playground, do you know how much Skunk Hollow was on top of your head when they redid it? And it was quite a bit when they redid Skunk Hollow a couple
How
years
much?
ago. Yeah,
I don't remember. That was 2020.
pretty close.
Still not doing anything about the weird shade structure.
I got a plan for that. So my question is, do you want me to come back with a final design in December before it goes to council? Or if we can make these changes, Tim and I still talk constantly about the playground subcommittee. But would you like me to come back with us either a presentation or a final staff report to say, here, take all this information in, not as many slides, obviously, but here's what it would look like.
At the meeting on the 10th.
Yeah, the test.
I think if the subcommittee can help you move towards being ready for council, then we should leverage that. You need additional members on the subcommittee.
I think I'm okay. I think this is great direction. I think it's me working with the designer. I'm like, hey, here's the feedback. Can you make these tweaks? And then may I come back and say, no, we can't make these tweaks. What do you want to do? Maybe he says, no, it's not possible. We can't put a web up there. It is
Great. How would you do it if you
Yeah.
absolutely had to?
So,
How would you do that? That's that question.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think this is, this is very exciting.
it is.
Some kid. We're the children.
We're gonna open up this whole half the playground and it's been closed off.
People are like, when is it gonna be here?
People are still, it's been closed off, people still use it, it's kind of a hazard.
So that's the problem. We go out and inspect it weekly because people kick the boards down, they climb when they're not supposed to.
Kids are playing on it every day.
So they can play on certain sections, but the board off sections they can't because of the house, yes. But still, yes.
Yeah, okay, everybody. Right, gonna make sure of that. We don't need to vote, because we just gave.
Yep, gave me a good direction.
Great, we're on staff updates.
The volunteer recognition dinner was last Friday night, the 14th. Thanks to Rebecca to pulling off another amazing event.
Thank you, everyone who could attend.
It was a great event. We had a special helper to clean up. Holden's son was amazing, rock star. He can deliver cake with the best of them, and he tore down the tables. He was great. Thank you so much for his help. It is great to see all those groups who come together for what they do for the town. So hopefully again next year you can attend. It was a really good event, and I got to see a lot of people and how much they give back to the town. So that was really good to see. Trick or Treat is next Thursday. You all got a preview. Here's the sticker everyone will get. We ordered plenty this year so they don't run out. I am still looking for people who want to volunteer on the course to direct people or to hand out fruit or snacks at the end. So I've sent it out to the schools. I've sent it out to the Women's Club, Lions Club. I think my kids are going to be there. They don't know it yet, but they're going to be there to help out. But we are 8:30 takeoff for the course. People are pretty much done hour, sometimes an hour and a half. We have some fast runners. We have some kids on bikes, but it really is a good event and looks like weather will hold, which is great. And we just basically start on the Middle Cummins campus and go to the neighborhood and come back. So that's on Thanksgiving morning. Letters to Santa, our mailbox is out front of the rec center and the desks for people to drop off letters to Santa, please, with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we will send those off and get those returned back. The Corte Madera Art Show will begin on December 9th, which is a Saturday. I currently have 29 artists confirmed who are bringing art, which is great. And we again partnered with the Painted Bins and Kathy Huber to display all the youth art from the Painted Bins. So anybody who submitted a piece of art will be up. It'll all go up on that Friday the 8th and be up the entire time. Come by and see it. The youth artists are really ingenious in what they design for the recycle, reuse, and compost. And they do some really cool arts. Saturday, right?
Tuesday.
Why did I get Tuesday?
Yeah, December 10th, special meetings.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, December 6th. I'm sorry. Jeez, yes, December 6th. Goes up on the 6th is the opening and the closing is on the 17th. I don't get that date. I apologize. It is the 6th through the, God, off 2 dates. Wow, that is really not a good date. 6th to the 17th. I know, just one of those things. We do food snacks, and then they announce the winners of the painted bins on the Wednesday night, and then it all comes down, and then we flip it. Saturday, December 20th, which I know is the right date, is a gingerbread house decorating. We opened it on Monday. It is already full, and we're calling up the wait list, so we're taking more kids. We have Girl Scout troops. Yeah, so they are going to add more. They're considering a second seating since we make a big mess. Why not have it all there? So I have quite a few gingerbread houses in my office right now, so it's a high pile, but it is there. But it's the 20th. They are going to open some more spots. The last step I have is that we have finally signed the lease for the Intergenerational Center, which is great. Been finally done. It was done last week. The Adam Wolf, myself, and the players are active in designing kind of the layout of it. I will probably have an update for you in December of kind of what it will look like. We did some walkthroughs with H1 Corte Madera, with town council, with the designer, to look at how to best use the space for multi-use programming, for staff. So hopefully we'll have some type of design to look at to show you in December, but the goal is to open in summer of 2026. So we'll be recruiting to find a staff member to run on a regular basis, to be there every day, to greet the staff, and to greet the participants. And we're already thinking about programs that are currently in the community center that can roll over into the new center that are really popular. I said earlier, we had 29 people in Mahjong today, which is crazy and great. But those kind of groups are growing bigger and bigger. So that is an opening in summer of 2026. That is all I have.
Commissioner reports. Commissioner, please. Your time.
I have to report on the summer meeting, because I was unable to watch the meeting.
No worries. No worries. Town Park Playground Subcommittee, anything more on that? We beat that.
Yeah, I think we've
Eastfield Ad Hoc Subcommittee hasn't met yet.
we haven't met. We are still waiting for a design, come back from the designer. That hopefully will go to council on the 16th also. Once we get an actual design, we will pull in subcommittee, which is Alden, Commissioner Miles, Corte Madera Soccer Club, and some public works have to figure out what they're doing. A couple of highlights is that they're looking at kind of the base field and extending it about 20 yards each way because we shift the field for wear, which is good. And looking at a Kentucky bluegrass rye combination to basically kill off the crabgrass. So basically that will naturally will take over the rest. That's a little easier to maintain. It will go dormant in the winter, but when it grows back, it will take over the crabgrass, which is a large problem in that sand-based field, which is the East Field. So, but then that project is slotted to start early 2026 also.
The executive project committee do not meet. Do we have any individual commission meetings? Okay. Before we close this meeting, are there any topics the commissioners would like to put on future agendas?
One thing I will say is that with a very busy December meeting, I may not bring to you the fee resolution in December. I may do that in January. It's really just fees that are taken effective July 1. So there's some time there. We're going to have a very busy meeting with master plan, scholarship discussion, and playground. I may bring the fees back in January instead of in December. So it's a quick turnaround.
That master plan consideration, this is kind of a continuation of the last meeting we had. So that's going to be a meaty meeting. So we're going to have to give you a list.
Yes.
To council for January.
Yes.
All right. That is everyone's. Don't forget to read it at a time. With that, Commissioner Stoller is on point for December, but you talked to her. Switch ones come on. All right, next meeting is December the 10th special meeting, and with that we'll close the meeting.